Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matthew Wyatt, and welcome to the demonstration of the software. It's the 11th of the 11th, 2015. So we'll go ahead and get stuck into it. Lots to cover today. I know some of you have been joining us for the last couple of months for these reviews, and you know what the you know what the plan is. But let me just there's quite a few people on the line today who haven't been part of the previous one. So what we're going to do today is give you a quick demonstration of our software, answer a few questions live, and generally discuss how the business has been going over the last 11 or 10 months actually, because this is the October review. So what you can do to join in and be this, make this as valuable as you possibly can is you want to go ahead and find that question box and ask any questions you might have as they come up for you, and I'll answer those live as we go through. So without any further ado, let's get stuck into it. So the IQPro is a software program essentially designed to go ahead and develop your secondary or primary income. We've got quite a number of customers who use this as their primary source of income. Of course, there is even a bigger group who use this as their secondary income or retirement income. What the program has over the last 16 years. We started in 1999. Over the last 16 years, we've always shown a profit using primarily trifectas and win betting. Now, we don't just do normal trifectas or normal win betting. What we actually are going to do is we have the ability to spread our money across a number of runners in a race, and if any of those come in, double or treble our money. Now, there's lots of options inside the software, and I'll talk about those in just a moment because I've already got a question about that, which I appreciate. So what I like to do is just start off with a real world example, how this has actually gone ahead and changed somebody's life for the better. This is Leon. He lives in Adelaide. Leon says, I purchased the software back in 2002. So that's some years ago now, from a person called Matthew Wyatt, whom ended up convincing me the program was good and would make me the money I wanted to eventually retire. Subsequently, I can honestly say my trust in Matthew was justified. He was telling the truth, and his program is all that he said it would be. Today, IQPro is my business. I've set up my office as such and work the program most days, and I'm working on a target to earn $50,000 this year after being a target of $200 per session. This will be easy to achieve based on my current achievements. So Leon actually is not only an owner of the program, but also has taken it upon himself to invite people to his home and show other people running the program live. And he's also taken it upon himself to ask and invite other members in Adelaide who own the program to get together on a monthly basis. And now he's not the only one. We have actually got people in most cities around Australia and New Zealand who get together once a month to discuss the program and become better at it. So that's Leon's achievements. If you want to speak with Leon or anybody that throughout this conversation, if at any time you say, you know what, I'd like to talk to that person, that rings a bell of truth with me, go ahead and ask. And you can put them in the question box. Do go ahead and email them to me as well. You can hit reply on the reminders you got, and I get those, or Matthew at IQPro. You can email me there if that's more convenient. And of course, phone call is always available. So let's carry on. So what we're going to cover off today, I know I seem like I'm rushing through. It's just because there's so much awesome stuff to talk about today. I want to keep this under about an hour. And of course, I do want to cover off as many questions as possible. So today we're going to go through the introduction, which we've done. Quick demonstration of the software, because that's really why most people are here. And then, of course, talking about the membership and how our customers are really part of our success story. So let's get into it. One of the people who is part of our success story, who's actually created his own success story, is Chamath. He lives in Geelong, New South Wales. I think that might be New South Wales, and I don't think he actually lives in Geelong, because I'm pretty sure Geelong's not in New South Wales, unless the whole town just moved. Anyway, so I can put you in touch with Chamath. I promise you he is in New South Wales. I spoke with him only a couple of days ago. He said, this is an amazing opportunity with the potential of a six-figure income. Unbelievable training program, successfully running the program now for several months. This has the potential to change my life. Like, that's pretty powerful. And the other good thing is Chamath also is somebody who's, really opened up his home and said, people can come and actually see him using the software. That's in New South Wales. I think he's sort of more Western Sydney, certainly not Geelong. All right then, so I think the next slide is, okay, so we've done the IQPro introduction. A lot of what people are here to do also is understand how the profits have been looking this year. That's why we do these reviews every month. I know I'm sort of following a bit of a formula for you, but of course people like to see the progression and how we've gone over the month. So you can see here, you can see my mouse, I'm pointing to it. Start of the year with essentially $1,000 a week. We kicked up to 7 there, dropped down to 2, and then 3, and then bounced up to 9 and 4.5 for last month, putting us on $47,000 for the year. Now that's really great. You know, I'm very happy with that. That's entirely within what we have promised to customers. Our business promise is we say we want to make sure that our customers can earn $50,000 a year, between $50,000 to $60,000 a year, and we're certainly going to be well and truly on target to achieve that in the next 2 months. Certainly with the start of November we've already had. The other great thing that's going on here inside the business is the TAB have changed the way that they license out their data feeds. Now we have a really great opportunity to, and by the way, for the people who have just joined in, welcome. Grab the question box if you want to ask me any questions. I can see some of you already have, and of course also if I am recording this, so I know we'll email this out later, so you can go ahead and join in on that later on. So you've joined at the most, I guess one of the most important parts is the sort of money we're making, which is so far this year $47,000. Now that's not bad for 25 hours a week. It's also not bad for the fact that it's actually worked in the afternoon, so you genuinely cannot start early. I'm sorry, all those early risers, but you just can't start early. You might have to take up something in the morning like golf. Anyway, so we'll carry on. Now I do want to talk about the program. And for those, actually I've had quite a few people just recently join, welcome. If it seems like I'm rushing, I'm trying to get as much information as possible in. I am recording this, so you might want to play it back to you later on. So let's go ahead and open up the software. Here's what's happening or happened today. Now I never go through the basics and the column descriptions of the program on live data because things move, it updates, it dings at you. We want to make sure it's as simple as possible. So I'm going to bring up a day of history. And this is our history window. This is every single day's data that I've collected and all the racing. So I can choose any day I like. Obviously, I just want to go back to the most recent day that I've collected, which is Saturday. Of course, because Saturday was Oaks Day. Huge amounts of money in the prize pool, lots and lots of racing, and this really just will show you what a day in the life of looks like. Funnily enough, we would have probably clocked out or stopped using the program pretty early on in the day. Let me just go and maximize that. All right then. So first race happened up here in Flemington. First race is at 12:20 in Flemington. Sorry, you're absolutely right, Wayne. Emirates Stakes on Saturday. Oaks was Thursday. And this probably goes to show that my level of involvement in racing is pretty low. I use the racing as my vehicle, but I actually don't, I don't really get involved. I don't go to the races. We're not necessarily looking for gamblers. People who have got a bit of a background in racing, who have decided to take a business approach to it, are exactly the type of customer that I'm looking for. But people who go down there and wear a silly hat and drink a lot of champagne and who love the cut and thrust, the thrill of betting on horses, often those customers have a real challenge when they buy the program because we're actually trading. As you can see here on the screen here, we have no horses' names, no jockeys, no trainers. I'm only interested in making money out of racing, and then I'm happy to walk away from it. So let's go ahead and open up the first race in Flemington on Emirates Stakes Day. We've got, so 12:20 was the first race. Already, first race of the day, there's $30,000 in the trifecta pool. Look down here, $30,000. And of course, it just gets more and more throughout the day in Melbourne itself. All right then, so let me quickly go through this screen and then I'll cover off the other styles of trading and how they work, and then we'll just sort of chug through and show you the results for the day. All right then, the first column here is what each horse's number is. So horse number 7 is the favourite at the top. We order the horses from favourite to least favourite. Horse number 7 is at the top, paying $4.70. Horse number 6 is down the bottom, paying $9.20. Very, very close betting, certainly in big race days like this. And that's another reason why a lot of our customers pretty much have the day off from looking at racing in Melbourne during that time. So horse number 7 is paying $4.70. The next column over is the percentage of the prize pool that each horse is holding. Horse number 7 is holding 17%. Horse number 6 is holding 9%. The C percentage is the cumulative percentage prize pool that each horse is holding. So 17 plus 17 is 35. 35 and 17 is 53. So of course this is going to add up to 100%. Next column over is what each horse is paying for a place. So a horse comes in first, second, and third. For every $1 you put down on horse number 2, you're going to get $2.10. Okay. The W diff, the U diff, and the WP column, not important for today's conversation. They're all about the shortening and movement of prices. The price I'm talking about is the win price. As I said, more for a later conversation, or if you want to have a personalised demonstration with me, do go ahead and request it. The MG column is what each horse is, how it differs from the horse above it, the horse below it. Horse number 7 is paying $4.70. Horse number 2 is paying $4.80. The difference between those two, not much. Well, 1.02 means that it's actually 2% difference, a very, very small gap. We're looking for gaps of greater than 1.5, and that's why you can see here the difference between $4.90 and $7.50 is 1.53, or to say that another way, 53%. Okay, so the difference between $4.90 to $7.50 is an increase of greater than 50% of $4.90. Now that'll make more sense if you've watched a previous video of mine, or you've had a personalised demonstration, or of course you can just give me a call and I'll go through that again. We do break that down quite deeply for customers because it's obviously this is an integral part of using the software. All right then, so let's keep moving. Now the program covers a number of horses for a first, second and third by default, automatically. The program in this particular circumstance has covered these 3 horses for a first in the 1 column, these 4 horses for a second in the 2 column, and this is covered by the sort of orangey looking one and line, and for a third place covers these 6 horses and they're included in the green. So the program covers 50% of the cumulative prize pool for a first, 70% for a second, and 90% for a third. And just for the people who have attended late, please do ask any questions on the right hand side. Stop me if I'm going too fast, but I do want to make sure that I cover off as much as I can today. The 1 minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way out here, this is the every dollar on every horse every minute before the race jumps. Now that's not cumulative, by the way. So between the 4 minute mark and the 3 minute mark, a brand new $1,660 was placed on horse number 7. And so what that means is as you get closer and closer to the race along here, the reason this area here is in black bands, this is basically the latest information that we have, or when we're looking at a history mode, this is what we call bet point. This is at the time when we actually place our bets. Now I often get questions wrapped around, oh well, can I watch the races and bet later, because very rarely do races actually jump at the advertised start time. Look, you sure can. But with our program, we've designed it and we've done all of our testing and proving based on trading at 1 minute before the race jumps. Okay, so this is the countdown before the race begins. And now, of course, there are options inside here where we can show the horse's name if you really want to. You also can show the price variance here. Which tote does this money refer to? Super tab, etc. Currently I use Sportsbet. Okay, great question, Callum. We're currently looking at the New South Wales TAB live data feed. Now, what's interesting about that actually brings me to a really interesting point. The TAB are changing the way they serve their data. Currently, on this data, being Saturday the 7th of November, I was paying for a service called subscription data, which costs $90 setup fee and $75 a month that our customers would need to use. Now there was a free data service from the TAB, but it was pretty average. Like you get what you pay for there. Look, it was some of our customers decided to use it during their training, but really at the end of the day, if you're serious about making good money with the program, you want to use the paid for data service. Now, as of Tuesday, just a couple of days ago, the TAB have actually changed the way they are going to do that, and now they have taken control of their data, and we are licensed to provide our program that talks to the API, talks to the TAB's service directly. So that service comes directly from us now. The TAB do charge a fee for that, but it's about 25% less than what Better Data was. So it's through us. We can now provide that data to you for $49 per month. So that's a real bonus for our customers. They can deal directly. They have one source of customer service and support and training and upgrades and revisions, and use the software live directly integrated against the TAB. Now, we've been in conversation with the TAB for some months about this. They did go ahead and cut the service off on Tuesday, and we were expecting them to cut it off at the end of the month, but we're currently in some testing mode with it. Program's working fine, and we're in the process of sending that out to customers, because I can see a few customers here online. You'll be getting your update in the next day or so, everybody. So that's great news. All right then, so that's in regards to data. Hopefully that's probably the longest answer to a short question you've got there, Callum. So that's probably why it feels like I'm rushing. No problems. Okay, so let me go through the rules down the bottom left-hand corner here, and this is on trifecta. So you can see trifecta written here, and also in white up here, this is what we've got selected, trifecta. Now, if I go ahead and change my betting style to 2% return, the program brings in a new set of rules. Much like if I choose a bookie betting, which is ignoring the first two horses and betting the rest of the field to double your money. Like a win bet. Now, I have chosen the win bet. There's no rules in the win bet, so the program does add the few in here. Place, quinellas, and exactas. And I'll talk about those and how we structure our bets around that in just a moment. Let me go back to trifecta. Rules down the bottom here. The program in the rule set sets up a number of parameters, like field. How many horses are in the race? Well, in this particular style of trading, we use 8 to 14 horses. Dollars on favourite. We want to draw that information through because we want, which is up here, horse number 7 being $4.70. Dollars on favourite is $4.70. Now we want to make sure we're trading on races where there's a favourite paying more than $1.80. The next one there is pool. How much money is in the prize pool for a trifecta, because we're looking at trifecta. Pool, $30,000. We want to make sure there's at least $5,000. Combos. Now the program, when it's covering horses for a first, second, and third, is going to generate these combinations, and currently it's 36. If the program had selected an extra one, for example, it would have jumped to 45. So you can see that's a dynamic number there. It does change. Now, dollars on top combination. Now, when we're betting for a trifecta, our program does not do a box trifecta. A box trifecta is putting the same amount of money on every horse, on every combination, and hoping that you'll create a profitable return. Well, we don't do that. You don't need our program to do that. You can just go fill out a little card at the TAB and do that and have a beer while you're at it. That's not what we're about. We're actually about using maths, and we're using technology to put the advantage squarely in our court. And how we do that is by putting a different dollar amount on every single combination depending on the risk of that combination and the potential return. So let me show you what that looks like. So here are the 36 bets that we would be placing. Now this would be absolutely impossible to fill out 45 cards 1 minute before the race jumps to actually be able to place these bets, even if you could work out how much to put on each horse. Because obviously 7, 2, and 9 being the first, second, and third favourite horses in the race are the most likely to come in mathematically. Now punters and tipsters and all those other people who were, probably throwing their hat on the ground and stomping on it when the rank outsider won in the Melbourne Cup, all of those guys would be saying, oh, hang on, You can't tell me that the first three horses are the most likely to come in. You know what? I don't care about that. I'm only interested in maths. Mathematically, the first three horses are the most likely to come in. So the program puts the most amount of money on it. 729 has $12 on it. Now we want to make, now this is in red by the way, these two rules here in red here, the rules are broken, therefore we wouldn't be trading on this race. But I'm just for examples purposes. 729 is still $12 on it. But, and then of course the least likely combination would be 9, 1 and 6. So if we go ahead and grab the little slider here, that's got $6 on it. Okay. So of course if we had more combinations, that's going to all recalculate, showing us there now that there's $3 on 936 because we've had to spread our money more thinly. And that's really what the program is all about, developing a level of profit, or I guess securing a level of profit, doubling your money. All right then. So let's, normally I do shut down Skype, but I don't think it wants to shut down tonight for some reason. Oh well. As long as my mum doesn't call, that happened one time. Anyway, so we've got trifectas there, race lists. Okay, so what we're doing is looking for all of these to be red. All of these to be green, my mistake. If any of them are red, you don't trade. Let's click on the next race. Okay, all of these are in green. And let's go ahead and have a look here. So the program automatically covers a certain number of horses for a first, second and third. Those two for a first being 50% of the prize pool. Well, 60% certainly is over 50%. 70% is here, being 78%. And 90% is there at horse number 7. So the program by default selected those three cutoff points. We don't need to add any more in, because how I might add some in for the people who haven't seen this program before is I want to add horses to the next red markup so I can group them together with a similar price. So I've got those two horses there. Is there a reasonable difference between where this tick ends and the next horse down? So $4.20 versus $6.80. What's the difference there? 1.62. So that's greater than 1.5. Therefore, we don't need to add any more in. For a second place, it stops there, 1.91. So there's a difference of 91% between $6.80 and $13. And the last one here, 7 is paying $13.90, and there's a difference of 1.89 between $13.90 and $26.30. And then we don't need to add any more there. Now I know I've covered that quickly. I'll cover it again, I'm sure, as we move through the races. All right then, so that was the trade. Absolute laydown misère, to use a card playing term, but essentially everybody should have got that. That's absolutely a trade. Okay, and so therefore 1, 4 and 6 came in first, second, third. Here is the full breakdown of the results. 1, 4 and 6, the dividend paid $16.40, and we had that $53. The dividend was $16.40 53 times. Go ahead and have a look at this combinations, and let's find 1, 4 and 6. Well, there's a big green pill against it. So 1, 4 and 6 we had a 53 times, and the trifecta paid $16. So 16 multiplied by 53 is $869.20, and that was our return. Take off the $400 it cost us. Now I've chosen to do a $400 trade. You can choose a $200 trade or a $600 trade. $400 is the number that we show and we use when demonstrating the program, and also when we put our results up online. Of course, we would make more money if we had a higher amount of money in our betting. So if you remember that graph earlier where we made $47,000 for the year, if we upped our bets to 500, we would make more money, obviously. But I wanted to show you the program based on what you should be comfortable trading when you first get started with the program. All right then. So let's go back to the race list and move on to the next race. And of course, field of 4 here is never going to work for us. We want at least 8, if you remember. And we're back to Flemington. Now here at Flemington, huge prize pool, $64,000, but the dollars on top combo is 18. So if I go ahead and unlock this, this is how the race presented itself at the 1 minute mark. You can see a huge amount of money being dumped on horse number 10 here, $5,000 compared to horse number 4 at 500. Look at that. That's 10 times. No surprises that horse number 10 actually won it. And you can see here it's quite substantially larger as well. So in the last couple of minutes, it's really taken a huge amount of money compared with the previous, or compared with all the other horses. Now, do I need to add any more horses there? No, I have a red marker against the first. So for a second place though, where's the next red marker? Well, it's all the way down here at 3.14. Now, it wouldn't be reasonable to say, well, I don't want to bet any further than horse number 6, because the difference between horse number 6 and horse number 1 is the difference between $9.90 and $11.10, which is only 12%. Once again, I'm going to argue with the tipsters and the horse racing people, but essentially I don't care. I don't care that this horse might be a lovely grey one from New Zealand and this one's a brown one from Dubbo. I don't care. What I'm looking at is maths. And this is really what you should care about, is the mathematics behind it. Following the system, because over the last 12 months and over the last 16 years, we just continue to win. So do go ahead and follow the program. These two horses covered for a first. Where do I filter down? I need to fill down to here for a second. And of course, if I'm filling for a second, I need to fill for a third. And of course, all of these have gone red. That makes it a no trade. Yes, I understand we would have made money, but overall, throughout the year, you would actually lose money if you followed and just ignored our rule sets. All right? So let me go ahead and talk about a couple of other options within the program. I know that Callum's sort of sitting there waiting. So let's have a look at percent return. So the percent return is essentially saying how many horses can I bet on and make at least a 50% return on money and covering the favourite. There's a couple of rules here. And even for the new people who have never seen the program before, or haven't seen it for years and years, and I can see there's a few of you here tonight who haven't probably looked at this for years, you probably already realised that, hey, all of these are green, so that's potentially a trade. And so what does it look like? I need to go ahead and all of these are in green. There's $170,000 in the pool here at Flemington. We need to make sure there's at least 20,000, certainly covered that. We need between 8 and 16 horses in this type of trading, and we need to make a return of at least 50%. Okay, we covered those two horses. Huge gaps between these two. I don't need to add any more there. Once again, you can see that there's probably a good case just to stand out horse number 10, but that's not how we roll here at IQPro. We want to make sure we're still giving ourselves the greatest chance for profit. And even if horse number 4 does happen to come in, we'll still get the chocolates. All right then, so we covered those two horses, and what we can see there is we did win it. Horse number 10 did win, not a surprise. We had $108 on it, and this is interesting. Once again, we put a different dollar amount on horse number 10 and horse number 4 to ensure we get an even return across all of them. So we would have made, regardless of which one comes in, I wouldn't have cared if horse 10 or 4 came in. I still would have made about $312, $313. And that's the power of our program. That is why people are continuing to make money with their software. All right then, so bookie betting is, let me just quickly go through those. Bookie betting is essentially, well, pretty much exactly the same as percent return, but ignoring the favorites. Now, not many of our customers use that. This is a hangover from our first version of our software way back in 1999. There must be some customers out, well, I think there's 1 or 2 customers still using it. It didn't hurt us to put it in. Essentially, it's percent return, but ignoring the favorites. That's just a little rule set that's in there. Okay, most people would, or the percentage of people using bookie would be very small. Now, win bets. Of course, we can place a win bet. No rules there. No rules against the place. Now, you might want to set up rules for win and place, like, oh, I don't ever want to bet on, and this might be because you're a bit of a punter. Oh, I don't want to bet on wet tracks. I don't want to bet on where there's races more than 15 horses, or I don't want to do a bet on races where the distance of the race is less than or greater than some number, whatever number you come up with. We don't provide you with rules and indications in regards to how to use straight up win and place because, well, that's not really what our program's all about. Our program's is about developing the exotics to maximize your profit. But we will give you some assistance with Quinellas. Quinellas are really interesting. Quinellas are just covering the first two horses in any order. Now we actually have an entire course based on Quinellas, and that was actually run by one of our existing customers, not run by us, actually run by a customer. His name is Chris. He's in Adelaide. He actually goes along to the Adelaide group. Chris, he bought the program in late 1999. Had the program for 16 years, and has earned himself, well, currently he's earning himself around about $250,000 a year, and he has taught his son to use the program. And that's his son's job, to run the program in the afternoons and make that money. So Callum, yes, basically there are no set rules for win and place. I can show you how to set rules up there, and I'll do that in just a moment actually, if you like, but no set rules in particular, because percent return is betting for a win. Okay, but win and place, you can set your own win and place rules up, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Now, Quinellas are, of course, a trade where you cover the first and second, and exactas are, well, the same, but you're actually covering horses that are first and second in the correct order. Let me go ahead and show you that. I know in my other demos I haven't shown you all this, but there's enough of you here for me to go ahead and, I guess, expand on your knowledge rather than confusing anybody. Let me just show you setup. So here's the setup for this. In the applications, in the selection settings, we've got trifecta set up here. Now I've selected gallops. Now this is the great thing about our program. You can set up a different set of rules between gallops, greyhounds, and harness racing. And we can help you with that. So there's basically three styles or flavors within trifecta, being gallops, greyhounds, and harness. Further, we also, and so let me just talk you through some of the rules. Now there's quite a few rules here I haven't selected. You can see here I've only selected field, dollars on favorite, pool combos, dollars on top combo, and low dollar multiples. So let me show you what else is here. Now I've said allow maiden races. So I've got the program telling me when there is a maiden race, and there will be a little extra green box here that will come up and say, hey, this is a maiden, and it's in green. If it's not there, that means the race is not a maiden race. For those non-punting people, a maiden's a race where none of the horses have yet won one. Okay, so the default bet units, which is 400 units, and we've chosen to bet amount of $1 or 50 cents. So of course, if you choose 50 cents there, that is going to reduce your actual cost of the bet to $200. And you can choose however you like that. Include the favorite. Some customers, I don't want to include the favorite, or they do. So the idea of this is to provide you with all the potential rule changes, rule sets, and then you can go ahead and make your own selections. Of course, when you're first getting started, the idea is to get you some early profit, and in doing so, we will make sure that you are guided very strongly in how to develop and create that early profit. All right then, so the program, remember I said, covers up to 50% of the prize pool for a first, 70% for a second, and 90% for a third. Well, that's it, 50, 70, 90. You can make your own selections. Maximum number of combinations there, 60. Minimum dollar amount on the top combo is being 5% or $20. Remember I said dollars on top combo has need to be $20. Well, of course, that equals 5%. Now that means we use percentages rather than hard numbers. You've probably noticed that already, because you can change the dollar amount and the maths doesn't change. Once again, the program is super clever. The idea is for the program to do 90% of the work for you. And money gap of 1.5. Remember I talked about that 1.5 difference between one horse and another. That's where you do it. And low dollar multiples can't be more than 30% of our bets. See, low dollar multiples here, we can't have more than 30% of our bets being $1, $2, or $3, because we might win the race but actually not make money, and that's really no fun. One of the rules I don't have selected here is based on distance. I don't care, but some customers do, and they go, oh, well, I only want to look at races between 1,000 to 3,000 meters, whatever it is. Dollars on top combo, $1.80 or more. Percentage of the favorite. So some customers might want to say, and this goes across all the trading styles. They might say, oh, well, I want to look at, I want to be notified when there's a favorite paying more than a certain dollar amount. Okay. Pool size, we want to make sure it's more than 5,000. Field size, 8 to 14. You can also have the program tell you and select or deselect races based on track conditions and weather conditions. So you might say, yes, I want to do on track conditions, but I'm happy to look at anything except good down. So I'm happy to bet on races with good 3, firm 2 and firm 1, but everything else I don't want to know about. And then the program will show you in a red or green button here. So I know I've given you a lot of info that I don't normally cover off in these demos, but now when I click on Greyhound, obviously they have different track condition styles in Greyhound, and the distance is going to change. And harness racing as well. So all of this happens all the way across, bookie betting, now win betting. Callum, this is how you might set up your win bets or your place bets. You go, okay, well, what do I want to be shown? I'm happy with maiden races or I'm not happy with maiden races. I want to include the favourite or not. I haven't selected anything here, but you might say, I only want to look at these types of trades. And you can just go ahead and set that up for yourself. Same with place. And that's going to happen across gallops, greyhounds and harnesses. Quinellas, once again, we get more data fields in here showing us max number of combinations, minimum dollars on top combo, first select up to and second select up to, very similar to trifectas. And exactas are the same. Now, hopefully, Callum, has that answered your question? I know I've really spent some time on that, and hopefully other people have got value out of it. I'm not just talking to an audience of one here, but I just wanted to go a bit deeper on that because this program really does have a lot. This is like peeling back an onion. It does give you more and more information. Okay. Okay, so Callum's just asking, what is the success rate based on dogs and harness racing? Look, it's very similar to horse racing. We don't actually promote gallops and dog racing within their rule set because, once again, I've based the sort of person that I attract to the program on my level of what I actually want to achieve and what most of our customers want to achieve, which is that $50,000 to $60,000 a year. And so we can achieve that during the afternoon based on horses. Now, you can go ahead and do your own data collection, and we can also provide you with some back data. Okay. It's more or less the same, but there's obviously, when they have one scratching in a dog race, obviously there's never more than 8 dogs. So you're going to get fewer opportunities, but the strike rate is similar. Okay, so let me just go ahead and get out of that. All right then. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I know I've spent a lot of time on that. Haven't really shown you much of a demonstration of the program. We've got a race that has just finished. We've got interim results there, and that's not going to be, and of course this next one is 8:17, and that's after when we're going to be talking. So sorry I haven't been able to show you a live trade. If you wanted to go and see a live trade, I did one on the previous demonstration. Just fast forward all this chatter, or if you want to just fast forward all this stuff and go to the end of the demonstration when I actually show that live trade. But essentially all we're looking for, if you get nothing more out of it today, you go, hey, I'm looking for, let's go up here, I'll show you. I'm looking for red or green indicators. If anything is red, you don't trade. So let me just show you, click through a few races earlier today. These are all in red. As you can see, I know I'm going quickly, but unless you're colorblind, you can very, very quickly see you don't need to look at this grid, you don't need to look at the race, you don't need to look at anything. You only need to keep your eyes in this down here underneath the word trifecta. That's the only place you need to look. Okay, pool, that didn't qualify. And so you can see the program does, as I said, 90% of the work for you. Now, what I wanted to cover off before, because I'm looking at the time, keeping an eye on it, is I did want to talk about how we make sure that nobody's left behind in our training. So let's go ahead and bring that the member section up. So the members area is really, we've spent a lot of money and time developing the resources that you need to be successful with the software. We've got a user forum where customers can talk to each other, organize meetups, and help each other out, which actually happens quite a bit. Help and support, of course, you can click on that and you can go across to our I guess our storage of every question that's ever been asked and the answer, links, updating software, all those sort of things. This is what it looks like. You click on Getting Started, tells you how to download the software. You click on Announcements, what's happening in the business. Now, of course, we do email out very regularly. The customers who are online today will know that over the last week, we probably hit you with 2 or 3 emails, probably actually more. And also, if people want to get part of the IQPro members Facebook group, that gives you live updates. So if there's any members of the program here who are not part of that webinar, that Facebook group, please do go ahead and let me know, and I'll send you an invitation. It's a closed group, and some customers do, sort of commentate the races. Often it's a springboard for us to get announcements out, almost immediately. And support groups. Support groups is that what I was talking about earlier, when people can get together on a monthly basis. So Dave from Bay of Plenty, New Zealand. I know that Bay of Plenty is in New Zealand, unlike Geelong not being in New South Wales. I think the new training portal and the entire operation of IQPro are both excellent. The people behind the scenes are always helpful and knowledgeable and are prompt with their responses. And that's really what we do here, is we go ahead and you can support a ticket. You can put in what's called a support ticket, and that support ticket will then be registered with either one of 2 support people. I've got Mike and Chris. Both of them work Chris has been with me for more than a decade. Mike's been with us for about 2.5 years now. Very skillful people, can usually get you up and running quick, smart. So this is the training portal. The training portal is, I'm pretty proud of this, actually. We've spent a lot of time developing this. Sorry, I'm just reading a message here from Callum. Yeah, look, Callum's just saying he likes a % return and would probably just do that and trifecta. Look, I'm really glad you said that. It made me nervous in my email communication with you. You're being a bit wanting to know more about the other options. Yes, our program is a Ferrari. It's really great. But the stuff that we actually do really well is the trifectas and the % return. If you stick to that, you're going to make money, and I know that. And the reason I can say that with such conviction is we've been doing that for 16 years. Okay, that is it. We're really confident in that space. So if you're going to buy the program and just do those 2 things, I'm totally okay with that. If you want to expand, you want to look outside the areas, look, we provide you with the data, we provide you with the tools and knowledge and other customers you can talk to and trade ideas. There is potential to really go big on this if that's what you want. Chris is just asking, how many customers do we have? Is there a limit on the customers? Only in the sense that we do charge a reasonably large amount of money. That sort of cuts away a lot of people to buying the program. And also, I interview every single person personally before allowing them to purchase, making sure they fit the 4 categories, the 4 pillars that are important to the business. Now, those 4 pillars are time, temperament, technology, and capital. Now, having the money to buy the program is only one, and I actually have, just in the last week, rejected somebody from purchasing the program. They were saying not crazy things. They were saying things that fit within their, I guess, way of thinking. Oh, well, I want to make $10,000 a week, and I can't spend the time in front of the program, and they just weren't realistic. And so I said, look, this program is probably not for you. I think you need to look at other options, not us. Now, that's of course I'm handing off a reasonable amount of money, but what that does do is make sure that people are making money. Okay, so let me just quickly talk about the training. I'm getting a few questions here. I'll come back to that. So just, Chris, to answer your question, we accept between 3 to 5 people per month. Okay, 3 to 5 people per month to purchase the software. Okay, so in regards to training, we have a training portal with lots and lots of videos in it. We really go deep into every area. You remember how I talked about that money gap, that 1.5 thing? I sort of skipped over it. Some people here are saying, oh, I don't understand, and I tried to cover it again. We go quite deep into that. We really don't just discuss do this. Don't just fill to the next red market. That's the basics. We actually go deeper than that and teach you the why. We teach you really deep so you can get an understanding. So therefore, when you go and say, oh, I want to look at other ideas, You're actually coming from a point of education rather than I've just been blind Freddy clicking the button and not really knowing what I'm doing. So we do go deep in this stuff. Now we also provide you with parameters and the guidelines. So we talk it all out. These are all the parameters. This is what you're looking for. And here are the point form guidelines. You know, that 57, that 8 to 14 horses, that $1.80 on the favourite, that no more than 60 combinations, things like that. It's all there in a one-pager you can print out and stick on the side of your computer if you like. Having said that, I don't want you referring that when you're live. Once you go through these trainings, you'll be at a point where you can actually know all the rules as well as I do. You know the rules, you just go, that's how many horses I need to bet on. This is the stuff that I need to work through. This is just a built skill. If you think about the 3 to 4 weeks of training as your apprenticeship, at the end of it, you'll be making really good money. So just do think of that. And that's part of the 4 pillars. So time, 10 to 15 hours a week. Temperament, not gamblers. People who want to trade, people who want to make money, and that whether it's horses or anything, it's about maths. It's about technology, being able to use a computer, not being, you know, when I say send me an email, you're like, oh, how do I do that? You know, so you need to be able to use a computer, and by the fact that you've actually on this webinar, you might have already, you know, sort of ticked that box. The last part is capital, not just having the money to purchase the software, but actually to fund your training time and also your trading account. Your training time, 3 to 4 weeks. And then your trading account of $3,000 minimum. So these are the sort of numbers I'm talking about. You do need, of course, purchase the software. So 2 more questions here. Can I briefly explain how the New Zealanders will get paid out or transfer money to personal account? Yep, really easy. TAB is basically a TAB, what they run is basically a trust account as a licensed bookmaker or licensed totalizer, and you just transfer the money to your account. One lady in New Zealand lives in North Shore in Auckland, and she says she uses it as her excuse to fly to Australia and have a little holiday. Every couple of months she flies over here, goes to a TAB, hands over her TAB card, and pulls out quite a few $1,000s and has a nice holiday. And you know, she's semi-retired, so that might not work for you, Callum. That might not work for everybody, but you can certainly draw the money out in any way. Don't get them to send you a check because it takes 6 weeks to clear. That's just a bit of a pain. It's a normal transfer. Are there any fees? There's the next question here. The fees to actually be part of it. So I've talked about the data fee, which you can get from us, which is $49 a month, and also the fee after you've purchased the software. The purchase of the software, you've got 12 months of using the software, which is included in your fee, then $68 a month beyond that. Okay, so $68 a month is for upgrades, revisions, access to support groups, access to the webinars that we do every single fortnight, and access to a whole range of things, customers, just to give you that basis. And also we brought that fee in because a few people think, oh, well, how do you guys support yourselves going forward? Well, through those fees. We want to make sure that customers, we run a very transparent and long living company. We've been going 16 years now. I expect us to be still here in 16 years' time. Excuse me. All right, so let's carry on here. Hopefully that answers those questions. So this is Merv from Capalaba in Queensland, and Merv is somebody who's, you know, retired now. It's almost 4 years since purchasing the program. I was looking for a way to supplement my income after retirement, which was fast approaching at 4 years. He's now retired. In the last financial year, I returned in excess of $800 per week, and that is not using the software each day. Okay. I would have no hesitation in recommending the IQPro program to anyone who is looking to supplement their income. So that's pretty good for somebody who's retired, who uses the program part-time and produces themselves $800 a week. So what's that, $40,000 a year? $42,000, I think he reported. $40,000 a year for a retired person. And the money we make is of course tax paid or tax free. So that's very, very attractive to people who are looking for a secondary income. If you went and got a secondary income through through working, you'd have to pay almost half of that money in tax. Whereas this program, it's quite powerful in that sense. So that's essentially the program. I know that I've been running really hard, answering your questions as we go, and it looks like I've actually been able to pull this off in less than an hour. So I'm happy to answer any questions you've got for me, because we do have a couple of minutes up our sleeve. While I do that, yep, so I can just see you there. So look, I thank you very much for being here. Yep, my pleasure. Some people are saying thank you. Very good. Yep, I'm looking. I'll just email me, John. Just email me, and I'll come back to you. 1 second. Let me just. There's a few more questions here. I'm just trying to get through. New South Wales user group, can I talk to a member? Yeah, Chris, I'm happy to put you in touch with some customers who own the program in New South Wales. That's no problem. So Chris, do go ahead and email me after this webinar just to remind me, and but I'm just making a note of that here to put you in touch with other users of the program. Looks like everybody else is saying thank you. No, look, my pleasure. I like doing these. I'm going to continue to do them every month because, you know, it's nice to see the progression. You know, I've been doing them now for 3 or 4 months, and it's nice to see how the program has gone, and it's nice to see that $9,000 a month. Look, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm not going to be too upset if there is a $2,000 a month, which is still pretty good. But a $2,000 a month is still going to bring us over the $50,000 number for the year. Oh, Beverly, nice to see you here. Yeah, my pleasure. Hopefully we can welcome you on board soon. Some people here, like Beverly, have been talking to us for well, probably 6 or 7 years now, and just obviously not within their time. Yeah, Callum, I can definitely put you in touch with people in New Zealand, no problem at all. Well, look, other than that, I will leave it with you all, and hopefully you've got some value out of tonight. And if you do have any other questions, I can see quite a few questions coming up here. If I've missed anybody's questions, because it's like a live feed, they're just sort of scrolling through. If I've missed any questions, do email me, and I'll come back to you tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Michael in New Zealand, good to see you there. Another person we've been talking to for some time. Fantastic. All right, guys, thank you very much. Have a great evening. Bye for now.